public hearing to order at this time. It's a public hearing for the 2023-24 budget revision. Call it 6 o'clock. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on the budget revisions?
Just for clarification, in case anyone wants to know that doesn't, this is for this year's current budget, and this is done twice a year from now and then in May again. Your what?
I set my stuff down somewhere and I can't find it.
Okay, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing on the FY 2023-24 budget revision and call to order and open the meeting for the regular public board meeting. Call it 6:01 on the closing the one and opening this one. Let's go roll call.
Eldon Larson,
I'm here.
Karsten Flake,
I'm here.
Andrew Bushman,
Here.
Dayton Flake,
Here.
Kat Hansen.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the Pledge of Allegiance. I have a volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Dayton. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that brings us to the invocation. I have a volunteer to give us an invocation. I'll do it. Our Father in heaven, we come before thee before the start of this board meeting. We thank you for the opportunity we have of being here and serving this community and serving our schools, and especially the students that come to our schools. We ask that thy Spirit might be present and guide us in our actions. Thank you for the freedoms that we have in this country and for the opportunity we have of serving and saving things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. That brings us to the adoption of the agenda. I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda as listed, except for we're going to remove the resignation of Mr. Sean Layden. Can I get a second? Okay. Any discussion needed?
Are we removing it completely from this board meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Just a second.
Dayton.
Any discussion needed? Okay, you ready? Okay, call for the vote. Myself, yes. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew, Kat?
Yes.
Thank you. You're up, Karsten.
A motion that we approve the minutes for the November 14th board meeting.
I'll second it. Any discussion, any changes needed, anybody noticed? Okay, call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes,
Andrew?
Yes.
And myself, yes. That brings us to Mr. Fields.
Yes, thank you very much. I do have a report prepared and then some information on different items that I can discuss as we get to those. But to start off with, I did want to make a presentation this evening, and I was reminded by Mr. Flake about this. I appreciate him. This is a certificate. Last week we had a conference for school board members and superintendents, the annual, they call it annual conference down in Phoenix. And we have a board member, Eldon Larson, who received honor roll certificate to qualify for this. I think it was 10 years or 8 years. Mrs. Strong put that in for us to get this for Mr. Larson. We sure appreciate him, all the time and effort he's put in over the last 11. Before that, he had coached and worked for our district as well a long time ago, but for the past 11 years, he served as a board member. And if he's coached during those years, as most of you already know, he had to do it without pay. So some years he donated it or passed it up on or didn't claim it or whatever it was, but we sure appreciate that. And fact that he's willing to use his, experience coaching to help our kids. So, did you want a picture of me handing this to you?
I had to have a picture down there.
I'll cover it. Make it official.
Be in the back.
Be careful who we're associated with on pictures. Okay, so once again, thank you, but there's a few other things on my report I wanted to bring out. One thing that isn't on the written report, because it came in a little bit late, but I did want to at least inform you prior to the fundraiser. And it'll be on the next agenda. It's one of those that just needs principal approval because it's the first one for a club, but it's for softball, and it's selling banners and to businesses and individuals. Those are the ones that go on the fence, correct? So they want to start that, and it just needs principal approval for it to go, but the board still approves these back in case they have a comment, and so we have it documented that any future fundraisers from softball, of course, would need board approval. So that's what we have there. Trying to close down the semester. Currently, it is the end of the first semester. December seems to fly by on us. After this week, will be 1 week of school left. Kids are doing finals and trying to bring things to a close in their classes and content areas. We have some projects going on right now, namely the one that kind of surprised us. They showed up a week early is the gym floor at the elementary. Mr. Moser's been working hard trying to coordinate that, and they ended up showing up a little bit early, but we weren't sure we wanted to turn them away. So we're rearranging the dance and PE classes and everything else to try and get this done because that floor is in pretty bad shape. But they're moving right along. I'm excited about that. That's it's been a long time since that floor was redone.
And that's funded by the school board?
The state, yeah, the state facilities board, and that one was actually approved quickly. So it wasn't that long. Just a couple of months ago, we were talking about it, and now so I'm thrilled with that project. It'll end up being over $100,000 when it's all said and done. There's some information about a scholarship on here. If you'd like me to talk about, I can. Information on our cheer program moving into the winter sports season, and all the winter sports are going right now. I'm sure you know we have games down at the high school tonight and tomorrow as well, I think. Yep. One thing that I mentioned here, and if you could decide to go into executive session tonight on my evaluation, we could talk about it further, but some modifications I'm making to my goals. It's not really changing them. It's just adding some specifics on what I want to try and do the remainder of this year to help our schools out. And we have some calendar information in your packet, but that's not an agenda item. So I plan on having that as an agenda item next month. And then there's some information on the Booster Club, and the Brent Solomon's been running that, and he needs to shut it down for now. So the funds they had, they're moving over to the school account. Once they're in a school account, they really can't be used for a party. They could possibly be used for a senior trip. So we're gonna use those maybe for the senior trip, and the parents could still raise for their party in lieu of raising money for the senior trip. The kids currently in school didn't raise these funds that we're talking about, I think roughly $4,000. So we wanted to try and spread it evenly. Mr. Miller's working on that with Mr. Mills, but among the classes that are left, because it's kind of like carryover, rollover money. So we just try to spread it however we can there to make it fair and equitable. Other than that, I don't know if I have anything to add to my report. I can, talk more about anything that you'd like me to, though.
Thanks, Mr. Fields. Any questions?
If they're not going to be a booster club?
No, so, yeah, there won't be, is the short answer. We could, start another one. When you have an organization like that, there's a few things you need. And actually, Steve, I'm sure is more of an expert on this than I am, but you gotta have a 501c3, and you gotta watch how you do funds, because they will still, a school auditor will still go up and look at them, ask to look at them. Wouldn't necessarily hold the school as accountable if there's any mishandling of funds, but they would still look for that and police that and kind of treat it like a school account. So they would need some of that stuff set up. And the purpose of this booster club, when they originally set it up, was to do the concessions. It was all about concessions to raise money for the senior trip, if I'm recalling correctly. And so we're paying everyone to work in the concession stand now. We're trying to, this year, every student, everybody is working there. We're paying, so they're not raising funds for their trip. We're trying to break even at the, basically with the concession stand. That's how I remember that. And call it work experience, job experience, and it's also service at the games and things like that. So there wasn't really a need for, the volunteering through the booster club, and then they would handle the cash. And we really didn't, I don't know, I think Mr. Miller, Mr. Mills, everybody has it set up better now than how it was 10 years ago, in my opinion. I don't know if that kind of explains.
Yeah.
If I left anything out, feel free to go ahead.
They were also doing scholarships too, correct?
Yeah,
Is that still gonna continue, or what's gonna happen with that, do we know?
Scholarships haven't happened the past 2-3 years.
Okay. I haven't been for a little while, so.
We could if if people wanted to. The one thing Brent asked is that, since the students raised it, it would go to them, and in some indirect, somewhat direct way. So it could be scholarships that wouldn't go to all the students, it would just be, and they haven't done that for a few years, right?
Okay.
You brought up the calendar. I don't know if anybody else had it. I've had some people point out that it's hard to plan and do anything because they can't find a calendar, or the calendar changes constantly.
Oh.
They try and plan stuff, and all of a sudden Wednesday nights are taken up. And that's probably one of the big things they're talking about. The church tries to have their little church groups on Wednesday night. It gets shifted and changed, and now I'm not saying that the stuff's not out. I can't find the stuff worth a dang a lot of times on the calendars, because that's when that got pointed out. And I'm like, well, I don't pay attention to most of it, so I try and find stuff on a calendar. And a couple of weeks ago, they had one on Wednesday night for some concert, and I don't know if it was on a calendar ahead of time or not, but that was one of the complaints.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that out. So just to clarify, there's like two separate issues that we don't want to mix here. The calendar is like the school days and the work days, and then we have a schedule that is kind of filled in later. So like all the sport activities and the events, every activity, concerts, that's what I've heard some complaints on in the past, and that sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it is. It reminded me when you brought that up.
Yeah. So yeah, we look at that, and we've heard some complaints to do what we can. Usually there's a good explanation if something has to be on a Monday or a Wednesday, it's usually for good, there's some kind of reason, because everyone that's making these decisions, I think they try to keep those days clear. We have for a long time. It's hard, though. That pretty much sums up.
Pretty much, yeah, unless you have any specific questions, but that's what it is.
Yeah, like tomorrow we have a game, but it could have been AIAS or something like that, that we didn't.
And I think the biggest part was that if they knew far enough ahead, they could plan accordingly.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just all of a sudden finding out, oh, well.
It's it's probably, I would say it's very rare to have something change last second. I mean, if you think about it, we've got 200+ events probably throughout the course of the year. And there's going to be a couple that change here and there, but for the most part, they get on the calendar right away as soon as we know, and they don't change very often.
And,
Personally, I just say, if you don't like it, don't go to it.
Eric's 100% right. We did, like last year, I was frustrated in basketball winter season because we did have some changes, and we have to communicate that out better when we do. So, like, there were some, and I think they were weather related, but it's like we can't depend on kids to go home and tell their parents. We got to make sure. But some of the new stuff we're doing now, unfortunately.
None of them tell me anything.
So, yeah, we're gonna try and communicate better directly with the parents, but, yeah, what he says, right on, spot on.
Anything else, Mr. Fields?
I have a comment. Thanks, Sheldon, for what you do. You deserve it. You do a lot. You go to meetings and
Thank you.
spend a lot of time learning things at meetings to make our school better.
Thanks. Anybody want to report on what we learned down there? You guys want to? This would be the time to do it, I think.
I apologize, I didn't go, but I will go next year. Wasn't convenient for me this year.
Yeah, no problem. When you can, I think it's a good
Yeah.
thing to, even just to network, and sometimes you get legal advice at this one, not as much as the legal conference. But they had some good sessions. It was a little different this year, and the head of the ASBA, the president of the state board, he resigned, but he was still kind of the MC or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more modern than it usually is, I think, with dancing and music and stuff. But we did have some good sessions. We have some economic resources we picked up that I think we might be implementing. I've talked to the principals a little bit about it today. And then some reading resources that got to Mr. Mosier. And then, like I said, some legal things we learned. And then what was the conference the session you and Eldon went to that?
Team teaching.
Oh, yeah, so potentially, this could be huge, potentially arranging, like, if you have a situation where you have to reduce staff, but still you want to have manageable classrooms. They have some ideas from ASU. So it's like team teaching or collaborating with 4 to 5 adults in a room or in a cohort who share the students. So we're going to look at that a little bit more. And,
I really like the idea on that, is that you could have, like, if you have one really good teacher, you could possibly pay them a little bit more and call them like a lead in the team. And then their job would not only be help teaching the students, but teaching the other teachers underneath them how to teach.
I like that idea.
And then the whole idea there too is, let's say that you had a group in the elementary, you could have possibly one teacher that's really good in math, one teacher that's good in reading, one teacher that's good in science. They're all teaching the same kids, but they each take whatever their strength is. Instead of having a teacher with 25 kids and they are good at science, but they're not very good at everything else, type of thing. So I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
you know, something else I think that could potentially help us with, and not to get off on it too much, but I'd like the principals to think about it too. Like, if, you know, we're hiring some people who aren't certified and we're working with them to get certified. But instead of looking at that, you know, if there was someone who was just an aide, but we wanted to hire them because we thought, quite frankly, they might be better with a group of kids than someone who's almost certified that we have to put in there. You know, this has potential to give us flexibility to put the best people in front of our kids, I think, regardless of some other criteria.
One of the things that I got in one of the things that I went to is they're finding that a lot of kids now, and I don't think we deal with it near like they do in the valley, loneliness and doing interactive things in a class instead of having everybody sit at a computer or whatever. Get the kids to interact with each other and do some discussion and some team work, because a lot of the kids aren't at home. They don't get any interaction, and that if we could do more of that at school, it would help. Loneliness is as hurtful to your emotional system as smoking 19 cigarettes a day.
Stop, man, you were listening.
They were saying, I thought that was, I mean, I don't know what the similarities are, but that's
No, it's
craziness,
probably
that it can
not, yeah.
affect your emotions like that.
So, it's good.
Never smoked 19 cigarettes a day, so I don't know if it's the same, but.
Yeah.
But, and one of the things that they talked about too was, do we still do a moment of silence or whatever? That was one of the things they said. A lot of schools were going away from that, and that time to reflect, they found is very beneficial.
That was a law. Did they rescind it?
As far as I know, it's still in effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's state mandated now.
I could see some districts not liking it, maybe they were, I don't know, but it is policy, and I think it's state law.
Yeah.
But it is our policy too.
I thought that was an interesting thing, but they're.
Yeah, that is good, thank you for sharing. Awesome.
Okay, anything else? Thanks for the report, Mr. Fields. That brings us to consent agenda. I'll make a motion that we can approve the consent agenda items as listed. They go from 4A through 4E.
I'll second.
Yep.
Let me see, 4D.
4E is approve the payment of prior year expenditure.
They just not get that invoiced out, or?
Yeah, it's
All
just
the
a mix-up, and then it didn't get to it, but we do owe it, so.
If they didn't slap a late charge on us, so pay it quick.
Any other questions, discussion?
Did somebody second it?
Yeah, they did. Okay, we'll call for, I think we're at Andrew. Andrew?
Yep.
Kat?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Dayton? All right. Did I skip something? Oh, call to the public. Did we have anybody signed up?
None.
Okay. Man, I think I missed something. Okay, that brings us to 6 action items, 6A. I'll make a motion that we approve the personnel requests as listed, with a reminder that Mr. Layden's resignation is removed from there.
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed? Okay, call for the vote. Kat?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That brings us to B, the superintendent's annual evaluation.
So there's, on there, I guess, you want me to present it, or you wanna?
Well, to talk about it, we technically need to open it up.
Let's open it up.
So I guess I'll make a motion that we approve the evaluation of our superintendent.
No second.
Okay.
So this is, done in December every year, or supposed to be done in December every year, for the, the board to follow up on, with, if they want to do anything there. And, there's a form I've attached here that you can use or not. And, when you approve my evaluation, it could be approving a bad evaluation, so don't think,
Right.
the approve is necessarily as good. So that's what that is. And, I did also, I think I mentioned in here, the changes I wanna see it. I put in my report, it's basically around communication. Communicating better with parents and students, and, parent-teacher conferences and things of that nature.
So you do have a choice to go into executive session and discuss the evaluation if you would choose. We can say that he has a satisfactory or outstanding or, anyway, basically for the evaluation of the board, we need to say if we feel he's outstanding, satisfactory, needs improvement, unsatisfactory, or not observed type thing.
And the categories on the form.
Yeah, categories are on the form. So we can either, no, it's not approving any contract or anything. This is part of the whole contracting. You're required to evaluate your superintendent. So, it's up to us as a board how you would like to handle this.
If you even, you know, just for, unless the board doesn't want to, you could go through the categories of that evaluation to give you an idea of what, you know, you kind of looking, at with, when you critiquing the, superintendent. So education, how he's doing with education is the main, that's the first one. Kind of, can you put,
You guys have it pulled up?
it's not formatting right for me to move my finger around. Okay, so yeah, see, education, those are the bullet items, Ellen. Basically just managing the instruction of, and the programs of the district. The next, if you'll speak to the next, management of, employees and systems. The next one's the, unless they want to see, governing board, how I work with you guys as far as keeping us legal and not getting sued or anything like that, and communicating. And the next one is personnel. Once again, keeping the district in compliance and keeping the best people here employed that I can find. That was it.
So like I said, if you'd like, we can make a motion to go discuss all these in executive session, or we can discuss them here, or we can just say, we think he's outstanding and pass that. How would you like to handle it?
Don't matter to me. I told them what I think.
Every month.
I don't wait for just one season.
I'm fine with just,
Call it satisfactory, that might be more agreeable to everybody.
All in, I was just giving options. Do you people want to go through and discuss, or do we just, I mean, we can make a motion if somebody like that, we would approve his evaluation as satisfactory, vote it and be done? Or what would you like to do? I don't want to, okay.
fine with that.
Then I will make a motion that we approve Mr. Phillips' evaluation as satisfactory. We have a second. Any other discussion? I think I'm at Cat first.
Yeah.
Carson?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
David?
Dayton?
Yes.
All right. That brings us to C. Make a motion that we approve the FY 2023-24 budget revision number 1 for Joseph City Schools. Second.
I'll second.
Do we want to go over this? Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, if you open it on these tabs, I'll just look at that and make it a little bigger. But, most of these are increases to these categories. So you'll see like M&O, the capital, classroom site fund, with the exception of federal funds. So most of them are adjusted up, and basically enrollment and the formula, they have a formula for each student that is calculated, and how that gets reported from us to them and then verified back. That's like a very important thing with attendance, but most of them have gone up, and that's a result of some carryover from last year and the enrollment, I believe. Did you second this one yet? Okay.
Any questions?
federal funds at the bottom there. That one was a decrease from when we set the budget, and that's because, we had to close out, one or two of the COVID accounts, you call them ESSER funds. So that, and some of the federal funds also went down, like Title I actually decreased, I believe. So, that's why we see the decrease in that category.
I'm just adding it up in my head real fast. It looks like roughly about 100,000 increase. Once you add and subtract, is that about right?
Yeah, but it's not very solid right now, is what Steve is
Yeah,
telling me.
it'll change again in May, when they, there's some adjustments to our ADM and enrollment that are still getting worked on. Some data, they've made some changes in the state system and some data didn't upload correctly. And so we're still trying to get all that worked out. And so it will change again.
But it looks like that, and, so the enrollment, and this is off of October 1st numbers. So until the 100th day, that's the final attendance day. So, that's another reason it'll change if our enrollment changes by the 100th day. But yeah, you're doing the math, that's what I think too. So it's gone up a little bit. So.
But the carry forward increase really isn't outside sources, that's just what we saved from years past, so. Our carryover's saving our bacon a little bit then.
So how much are we adding from carrying over? Or does it say that right there?
221. No,
That's the carryover.
The carryover is actually, more than that, and I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but, when our enrollment gets fixed, then we actually had showed a decrease in enrollment because of the problems at the state. And when we revise our budget, we have to, whatever they have in their system, that's what we have to revise it to. But everybody acknowledges that there's some problems there. And so there was so our carryover was actually more than that. There's some decrease that resulted from the decrease enrollment because of those problems, was offset by more than enough carryover. But then when we revise again in May, once those are resolved, then should revise upward even more because of our enrollment was actually a little bit more this year than last year, just slightly more. So
As soon as we find out, we can communicate that with them, right? Like if we get that fixed before May, we can share that with the board. And, so my estimate, I think we've gone over a little bit with some capital so far this year because our boilers needed so much service. We've had some issues, but, so I bet I hadn't even asked Steve, but we're probably over a little bit with that budget. But 900,000 overall, I think, is in a reserve. That includes 500 or 400,000 from that APS, I think. That
well, and there's some carryover we have in classroom site fund. And then
Wasn't the APS 500,000?
yeah, it was.
so APS is included in this?
No, in this report,
No.
not this
They're not included as part of the carryover?
Well, this is for, this is our expenditure budget.
Yeah, so that's a separate category.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because if they're included in the carryover, then we're in deep trouble.
No, we prepared a report for the board. Last
Yeah.
month or the month before that had all that in it.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
so then, it was mentioned earlier that some of the ESSER funds, did we lose them, or they
No,
just,
yep. You had to spend them by September.
and we didn't get them spent?
No, we did, man, we spent them.
Okay, it's just because we had a decrease.
Oh.
Say, if we didn't spend money, we lost it.
Then it
Yeah,
shows up if you don't spend it, like the
Right.
one ESSER fund.
Well, when we do when we prepare our budget for, when we propose our budget in June, we're preparing it in April and May. And so at that point, we don't know what our federal allocations are gonna be, and so we just take an educated guess. And then sometimes they turn out to be more, and sometimes they turn out to be less.
So ESSER funds and APS funds aren't part of this report.
ESSER,
The one ESSER account that we still have is part of it.
yeah, that's part of it. What we have left to spend is
Oh,
included.
I mean, I can go back a couple boards. So what are we talking in that one? I'm just trying to figure out whether, if we took ESSER and APS out, are we in the red or are we in the black? So how much of that ESSER funds,
Oh, we're still
We're
in
still in the black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how much are we talking? 200,000 in the ESSER funds, 100,000? Because that's literally, we're talking,
Yeah, we've got,
I mean, we can go back a couple of months on this, but okay.
it's on the, actually,
It's in the minutes.
it's in the, financial report that was part of the superintendent's report. So
Sorry, it's
ESSER,
just when it's all not on the same page,
Yeah, that's fine.
you don't know what report's put where.
so we have, ESSER, our carryover, well, our budget for this year, and we spent or encumbered, some of that, but it was $836,000. And with that new bus we bought and a few other things that are available is down to $585,000 on ESSER.
That's the biggest chunk we still have.
And the, APS that's all thing, we haven't budgeted for that because we don't plan on spending it.
But we cleared out the ones we had to, the two other ESSER accounts that had to close, or it was two. We spent it all, and, because they don't let you spend after September or October this year.
So that federal fund decrease is primarily like, Title I and IDEA and.
Yeah.
When is the end of spending this ESSER one?
September 30th of next year,
So 2020?
24, yeah.
Good question. So we want to start thinking about that.
And there's not
That's a lot of
an
money.
end to spending the APS money.
That, no strings, no nothing, at least at this point. So about one bus, maybe two buses for that ESSER, use it all up.
Okay. Any other questions on this, Andrew?
No, sir.
Okay. Call for the vote. It's you.
Yes.
Self, yes.
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Thank you. Brings us to informational items. Academic calendar options for FY 2024-25. Yeah.
Like, there's three options. You want me to,
This is your deal, Karsten.
real quick, it's 148 days on all three options, and then the only difference really in this is either a week of break for Thanksgiving or not a week of break for Thanksgiving. So if we did approve a calendar for a week at Thanksgiving, the difference, there's two of those options. One has a staff day back in January, the other one doesn't. And if we do add the day in January, it bumps you up to start July 31st. That's just a quick summary of the three options. I'll take input that you guys have on this or comments you want to make, and I'll try and get a recommendation here by next month.
It'd be nice if we didn't make anybody have to go back in July. And I mean, because if we put the students back in July, even if it's just one day, I think you can get more flack over it, because it feels like you just went back a whole month earlier. I really think we'll get some, I mean, I don't even want to see teachers back in July, but I don't know what the solution is for that. It just, part of the reason people like to teach is because they get 2 months off, I think.
Yeah.
It used to be
Used to
three.
be. Used to
But
be.
by the time this is all over,
This calendar is the one that gives you a week of Thanksgiving, but the students start August 5th.
Yeah.
You
The only
Which is,
thing-
we have less days off throughout the year, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't have the.
no,
Some of the holidays.
no, so you get a full week of Thanksgiving
Yeah.
with this one. The
Yeah.
only downside to this one, I think, in my opinion, is no staff day back at the second semester.
Usually right there on the
That's what we've
6th.
heard.
Yeah, that's.
Teachers really like that for prepping.
yeah, back on New Year's Day, so.
I did a survey of one,
We can't, right, we got coming back on the first.
But no, we're coming back on the 6th.
When's graduation?
Oh, okay,
What's the pink? I thought the pink was,
just means break.
oh,
Pink-
okay.
Yeah, pink is
Yeah.
break time, no school.
first is the holiday. Well, as a parent, I like having all of Thanksgiving week off, but I only surveyed my son and he said he didn't care about that. He liked all the days off throughout the year. So, like, oh,
The teachers seemed like they liked it, the full week then. but
yeah.
One thing would be different in 2024 is Veterans Day now falls on a school day. And so that's an additional holiday that we didn't have for the last 2 or 3 years because it was, either on a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, don't take Veterans Day off. Leave that as a holiday.
Well, we're actually, it's required by state law,
Good.
so, yeah.
But if you don't, so this is just an information question. So if Veterans Day is on Saturday or Sunday, you don't have to give,
Just have
A
an
day off?
observed day, right?
You have that,
Yeah.
You're right, for the, if you don't,
because I get it. It's at APS, Veterans Day on Sunday, I take Monday off, or I take Friday off.
the past 2 years, we've been getting it here at the district office about these employees that don't get it off too, so.
Well, I bet, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, when they didn't get it off, I was wondering about that. So even though it's a holiday on a weekend, we don't have to give them a day off during the week?
Right,
Yeah, and I'm not sure why
we could,
because maybe it's not a federal
yeah.
holiday or something, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a federal holiday.
I'm pretty sure that's a pretty legit one.
Or maybe it's in the state, I'm just speculating, but in the state law, maybe it may be specific about that you have to take it off if it falls on a school day. And I guess that was interpreted to be, well, if it's not on the school day, then we don't have to take it off. And I imagine we were trying to get in as many we were trying to start as late as possible and get in those Thanksgiving days and all that kind of stuff. That's probably.
Are we sure that that's
No, I'm not.
a law? Can we check that out?
Well,
No, because then we have to back pay.
it's just,
Well,
it's just done, we've just done it that way here, and I don't, if we don't want to do any more that way, that's fine. I don't, it doesn't matter, I just speculating, we just.
So I'm
Not that day, I would.
not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure, we checked this out when we set, going
Yeah,
back 2 or 3 years.
No,
Because we had to verify, because it was
there was
they, people, yeah, they had us checking, so we made sure we checked it. But to Steve's credit, he was just telling me, before the meeting that we don't have to do that, Brian. We could pay them like they do at APS, if we wanted to, but we just.
so me personally, especially a Veterans Day holiday, if it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, I would still give the teachers a day off.
Well, the teachers
For
is
Veterans
different.
Day. Teachers, kids, whatever. Observe the holiday somewhere during the week. That's what I'm saying. I think I would be willing to venture that most institutions observe that.
Not mine.
Or your personal institution.
Well, yeah, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the last 3 years, right, is when Veterans Day has been. So but teachers are contracted a certain amount of days, so we build the calendar out over those days, right, and the students.
Right.
So specifically, and if it falls on the week, so we observe it during a weekend. I mean, you want to give another day? Is that what you're saying? On top of?
I would say either you give Veterans Day or you observe a day for it.
That's what I'm saying.
But
If it
don't
falls
you
on a
think
weekend?
if it's on a Friday, we don't need to do that?
Make it a Thursday. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
In my opinion,
You won't have to tell us.
yes.
I'm just telling you, I
We're
get a
already
paid
shortening
holiday, I get a paid holiday no matter when that holiday falls. Whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, I'm getting a paid holiday for that.
I looked
I
up,
think most places do that.
And I would,
Thank you for your service.
But it's,
that's
I feel like
my
it's
opinion.
our choice that we're already not working on Friday.
In our district, it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So we're saying every Friday is a holiday then?
Well, no, but I don't, in my mind, it makes, like, I guess I personally would not expect it, but that's me.
I just like the extra,
So just to add to that, I work 4/10s and I get a holiday.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if that holiday
I-
falls
I
Friday,
understand
Saturday,
that.
Sunday, I get a holiday.
What this will do is our calendar, it'll make the calendar tougher. So things like this, it adds a day in there. So when we do that, you know, the past 3 years, we would have had this issue where we want to take away a day in January, Thanksgiving, add one in July. That's how it kind of starts happening. But
No,
this,
I understand that, it's just, it's Veterans Day, and it's one way to say, hey, we're remembering our veterans.
me personally, I'd rather see us lose a couple days on Thanksgiving than observe Veterans Day.
Exactly.
We also have something to play with. I'll bring in my 2 cents that I bring in every single year. We only have to go 144 days. Anything over that is extra days. So if we give ourselves a day or two or whatever of cushion, we're still only at 145 or 146. But we only have to go 144 days in a 4-day week, and a whole lot of other schools only go 144.
As long as you don't have snow days in there.
You build in snow days.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents. I would rather lose a couple days on Thanksgiving than Veterans Day.
But what I'm saying is we have a couple of extra days already.
And we don't have to worry about it for the next
yeah.
5 years,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
4 years.
if you choose option C, then that'll all work. And just in response to your question, ARS 15801, when July 4th, Veterans Day, December 25th, or Thanksgiving Day occurs within the school week, the school shall be closed and the compensation of the teachers shall not be diminished on that account. That's what it says. For what it's worth.
So if it,
That-
so it doesn't matter if it doesn't occur during the school.
Right, so there's nothing that says, but you have to do an observed day, you know, that's all it is.
Sometimes the right thing to do is better than that, it's not against the law.
I just think it's a huge respect thing for those who serve. And to instill patriotism in the kids. More
Anyway,
so than turkey, I'm sorry, to be blunt.
So, like Ellen said, that issue isn't up before us this year or in the near future, but, that is one of the reasons why it's a little tighter on this decision you'll be making next month. And, yeah, I think that was pretty much all. So, it's taken care of in the next calendar,
Because really, the only free extra days in here are the extra, days that you can only 2 days you could take out would be 2 days around Thanksgiving, 2 or 3 days.
yeah.
Everything else is a holiday, so there's really not a lot of extra days off. Or, kill a 2-week Christmas break, try that one.
And I think you have to have a 2-week Christmas break.
Can't have more than a week, I know. I don't know. Yeah, but I've never heard of anybody having less.
Oh, I'm
Back
saying,
my
I
brain
wouldn't
here.
I'm just saying that
I
there's
wouldn't
really
want to deal
no,
with the backlash of that.
there's really no extra movement in there.
No, not much. So, yeah, all those comments are right, Carson's right on that, so, yeah. I would follow that up, if I could just take a few seconds and say, there's a trend going around the country right now. I don't know if you followed the news or whatever, but attendance in schools, they're having a lot of problems. We've seen an increase in absences, but across the country, I wouldn't be surprised if some schools started to, I don't know how they're gonna address it, but they're gonna, something's gonna be impacted here with, in their calendars and what they do, so I don't know how we're gonna.
Like,
Well, you,
Zoom or?
because they're blaming COVID. After
Really?
after COVID, people don't want to come back. Our district, the kids were dying to come back. You know, they want to come back. The teachers wanted to come back, but some places they didn't. It's a trend across the country. But anyway, so I want to kind of be careful. Got to be cautious and not take.
Well, it sounds like you have any preferences between the three. Let Mr. Fields know, please.
Who else gives input on this?
Some years we've done surveys and things. I think the principals is who I really take I expect that they are better in touch with the staff and students at their campuses. So, and if,
So do we decide it or?
oh yeah, at the end of the day, so I might, let's say hypothetically, I recommend number or letter A. You guys would make a motion to, or not. You could say, I'm not making a motion on his, I want to make a motion for something else. Or it makes a motion and you vote it down, and then make another motion. It's, at the end of it, it's all you guys can decide, but.
Or you could say, we like option A, but instead of having a whole week off,
Okay, so
yeah.
are we voting on this at the next meeting?
This is just for your perusal, correct? It was information?
And this is, putting it here, they're uploaded to the system so the public can look at them too if they want to, anybody who wants to, is interested.
We did big surveys the last couple of years, and they came back almost like balance. It was like 33 to 34. I can pull the results, but it didn't really help. I think we surveyed parents and teachers.
And it didn't really show anything one direction or the other very much.
Okay.
So I think we should look at it from an educational point of view, and because I know we hear from everybody's perspective, like somebody might want it off for a vacation or for this or 4-H or sport or whatever, but we need to try and think what's going to be best for the kids' learning.
No, but we can tell you when the fair will be next year, so we don't have homecoming on. Already scheduled.
That
Well,
happens.
Holbrook High School got the Holbrook City to change their whole Christmas parade. They've done for years on the first Saturday of December.
Wow.
But the Holbrook High School finally got the city to move that parade to the second weekend because of the Pat Kenny issue.
That's why.
It has always been a conflict for years, and
Why didn't
Yeah.
we just move they can't really move the tournament because all the other tournaments are set.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that Pat Kenny tournament is on that weekend, and it's been that way for years.
Just
But
like
so has the parade.
the Joseph City Wrestling Tournament, the Hebert, all of them have their weekend.
The slot.
That was their special interest, but at the end of the day,
So do we have any, we're going to future agenda items here. Does anybody have any future agenda items?
like meeting date and time will have to be on the agenda next month, and board offices, those type of things.
Yes, that is true. So start putting your signs out on your front, out by the road there, Andrew, for board president.
Eldon for president.
You just won the award, Eldon.
Steve, for future agenda, so remember a couple months ago, I asked for like those big ticket items. Can I get those back on there, please? So that I can see those. And then I sent you what we sat down in that meeting, and I gave, we had the explanations of what all those were. If you wouldn't mind finding a way to attaching that So like, here I am looking at Civic Center again, and I cannot for the life of remember. You explained to me what Civic Center was, but we don't have a Civic Center. So I'm like, what is Civic Center? And I have to go to my stuff that I have at my computer and pull it up and figure it out. If we could just stick it on the side, it would make life much easier.
Stick all another paper on it. That's what I was saying. If it's not all on the same page, I don't follow real well.
So if you could please put those on there, that would be greatly appreciated.
You need an index.
Huh?
You need an index.
I don't need an index. I just need a little thing on the side that says, this is what this is, in human terms that I understand. Because when I think of Civic Center, I'm like, well, there's one down in the valley, and each big town.
We don't have one.
We don't have a Civic Center. Like the gifts and donations, you know, if you didn't know that that's where the 500,000 from APS went, you're wondering, man, how did we get $550,000 in gifts and donations? Okay, upcoming meeting is January 9th. Is there any major conflicts for that? Can we still do that at 6 o'clock? I'm not hearing any complaints. I don't remember. I have to ask every,
Our first Tuesday back after,
right,
and there are basketball games.
of course.
So, we'll start on the second or
On the 8th.
on the eighth? Oh.
Oh, no,
School starts.
on the 9th. It is the
I-
first day back.
Okay, sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, I feel like we're like, because we're taking our break so late.
And we don't have to vote on that because that's our normal meeting. Correct? All right,
Adjourn.
unless there's anything else, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, you want to vote first? Andrew, Kat,
Yes.
Carson, me, yes. We are adjourned, call it 6:57.